Welcome to the Mandai Innovation Forum 2021. Thank you very much for taking time out from your busy schedule to be at this inaugural event, held in conjunction with the Singapore Week of Innovation and Technology. I'm Sherry and I will be your host today. As we embark on an exciting lineup of speakers, here are a few words from Group CEO, Mandai Wildlife Group, Mr. Mike Barclay.
Welcome to the inaugural Mandai Innovation Forum. I'm sorry not to be with you in person. Unfortunately, I am attending a parallel meeting that is already committed to. Our intent is to use this Mandai Innovation Forum to engender meaningful discussions on innovation and to act as a strong platform for networking and building partnerships. We will also be participating in Switch, or the Singapore Week of Innovation and Technology, to engender greater awareness of how technology can be used to enhance care for animals and our environment. Now, the ongoing COP26 in Glasgow reminds us of how important our role is and will continue to be in protecting biodiversity. This encompasses the work we do within our parks, in the field, and in the community. In line with this, we will use this forum to explore how Mandai can be a leader in the space of deploying technology for animal care, conservation, sustainability, and guest engagement. We embarked on our digital transformation journey about 4 years ago. At that time, we focused on pilots that would bring guests closer to wildlife. This has become even more relevant with the COVID pandemic, which has disrupted our core business and has forced us to innovate, to engage with our target audience in the virtual world. It has been encouraging to see how the good work in this space has been recognized and has attracted a number of awards. We're off to a great start. Our team has also stepped up with our exploration of how we can use technology to enhance our animal care, from 3D printing to automating animal monitoring and counting. At the same time, we hope to work with local startups and entrepreneurs through the Open Innovation Labs to address meaningful problem statements. Today we have a great lineup of speakers and panelists, some from Mandai and others from external businesses. I would like to thank everyone involved for helping to make this inaugural Mandai Innovation Forum possible. Thank you and enjoy the forum.
Always wonderful to have strong support and guidance from Mike. We have quite a morning this 11/11 with invited panelists and speakers from the industry and partners who work with us on innovation in the areas of conservation, sustainability, and engagement. To kick off the Mandai Innovation Forum, I'm pleased to introduce Vivek and Belina, who will be sharing a cozy fireside chat. Our interviewer and host this morning is Mr. Vivek Lath, partner at McKinsey & Company. Vivek joined McKinsey in 2010 and has since worked with a range of clients on business builds, DNA transformation, growth strategy, go-to-market strategy, and customer journey design. Vivek will be chatting with Ms. Belina Lee, Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer at Mandai Wildlife Group. Economist by training, philosopher at heart, and change agent by calling, Belina has over 20 years of success in building and leading award-winning business innovation at top Fortune 50 companies in financial and lifestyle services, technology, travel, and hospitality. At Mandai Wildlife Group, she leads and champions acceleration and scaling of innovation to drive transformation 2.0 towards the triple bottom line of planet, people, and performance. Today, we're discovering how Mandai is leveraging on digital transformation to achieve resiliency and create new products and services. Vivek, Belina, all yours.
Thanks, Sherry. It is a pleasure to be here. Good morning, everyone. I hope I am audible.
Very clear, Vivek.
Hey, Belina, looking forward
Hi.
to have. Hey, how are you, Belina?
I'm good. Thank you for sharing your 11/11 with us. It's a special day. Very memorable.
No, thanks a lot, Belina. Mandai always has been very close to my heart. I have been a regular visitor to Mandai for last 6 years with my kids and my family. Thanks a lot for having me here. Before we start, I've been very inspired by how Mandai has overall transformed, and I recently came across the video about the new branding exercise as well. If I may request to play the video for the new branding exercise. Thank you for this. So, Belina, again, Mandai has been on the forefront of innovations for last few years. Recently, it went for the branding overhaul. Can you please help us understand what's new and what really mandated to Mandai for go for this branding overhaul exercise?
Absolutely, Vivek. And before I share my thoughts, a very good morning to everybody who has kindly taken time out of your busy schedule to join us. So a big warm welcome from Mandai. And, you know, Mandai is special because of the animals that we take care of, and bringing you a virtual high five. Joelle? To brighten up all our days is our baby panda. So a great virtual high five to everybody on the call, to you, Vivek, and to our distinguished panel of speakers, and to everybody on the call as well. So, you know, the whole new master brand Mandai embodies the passion and commitment that we have for a thriving biodiverse planet, where we dream of wildlife and human communities living side by side in harmonious and well-functioning ecosystems, right? So the new corporate identity that you saw and that brand world is inspired by nature and all the wonderful animals under our care, including our baby panda, which never fails to bring a smile to our faces. And we continue to spark a sense of wonder amongst our guests and our visitors. Our new tagline, "Come to Life," serves as an invitation to come nearer to nature and experience the wonder of wildlife at Mandai Wildlife Reserve. For those of you who are less familiar with Mandai, who may be calling in from overseas, we operate the award-winning wildlife parks, the Singapore Zoo, Night Safari, Jurong Bird Park, and the newly renamed River Wonders. What's coming up is under the rejuvenation plan, we will have a new bird park named Bird Paradise, a new Rainforest Wild Park, 2 indoor attractions, public green spaces, as well as an eco-friendly resort. So there's a lot to look forward to in terms of the physical rejuvenation of Mandai. And we hope to welcome all of you when it's open. In addition to the physical precinct that we operate and the animals that we look after. We are also very, very active supporting field conservation work in the region. And we have, amounted to more than $10 million of funding, both in kind as well as in contributions, championing the welfare of wildlife and conservation in the region. In terms of our focus and our vision, in this kind of inflection point, it is to boldly transform from a physical precinct into a globally impactful and relevant conservation and sustainability everyday brand. So it's no longer, oh, let's just go visit Mandai, whether it's for the locals once a year, a couple of times a year, or for tourist visitors who come visit us once in a lifetime, or to the millions and billions of consumers who never have the chance to visit Singapore. We are bringing Mandai to the world. And this new brand change embraces that bold vision that we have, and it's really exciting to be able to share and partner with everybody on this journey.
Thanks a lot, Belina. It is quite inspiring. Look, again, I still remember when I was a kid, I used to go to the zoo and it was all manual process. Like even the booking of the tickets, you go there, you just see there. Now, when I see Singapore, like again, the Mandai facilities, and especially over the last few years, I have seen a big transformation, the entire customer journey, the customer experience. At the same time, I have been again hearing lots of things about how Mandai is driving the digital efforts and innovation. Can you help us a bit learn more about your journey and the achievements till date?
Definitely, Vivek. So I think whatever we do is guided by our North Star, and that's our vision. And our vision is to inspire everyone to value and conserve biodiversity. I think the world is on the brink of the 6th mass extinction event. We cannot do this by ourselves. We need to rally everybody to join us on this journey. So our digital transformation and innovation has always been guided by this North Star, right? So it's not one department or one division. Everyone is working towards this one common vision and purpose, which is to protect wildlife together. And that has been very powerful in the sense that, through our Transformation 2.0 effort across our three triple bottom line of performance, people, and planet, the entire leadership team and EXCO is united. So our digital innovation and transformation is not siloed, it's whole of organization. And we are also very mindful that it's quite difficult to drive change of this scale, right? Which is why the three very important pillars and the triple bottom line are the outcomes that we hope to achieve. And it's also underpinned and supported by 4 change enablers. So the 4 change enablers are our people. So our people are very important to us. And without our people, we will never be able to achieve what we need to achieve. But also very importantly, enabling processes. For those of you on the call who have been engaging in innovation and digital transformation for a while, you'll know that processes are really key. The ability to be nimble, to be agile are all enabled by processes. The third enabler would be platforms. Now, platforms are really, really important, right? So technology is a great game changer, but technology in itself will not bear fruit without the people and the processes. And then the outcome, the benefit to our guests, to our stakeholders would be the products and services that we are able to transform and to innovate. And that's the 4th change enabler. So we've got triple bottom line, performance, people, planet, and then it's underpinned by the 4 change enablers. So we've been quite grateful and honored to have received quite a few awards for our efforts in this space. So recently we achieved the IDC Special Award for Digital Resiliency alongside industry giants like Changi Airport Group, Grab, and DBS. So that's been a really proud moment for the organization and everybody who contributed to it. We've also won a number of awards for our loyalty and engagement efforts in terms of how we are transforming the way that we are engaging families with children, and can share a bit more about that later.
That's very helpful, Belina. And I personally, again, have been quite inspired and learned when you always say about triple bottom line. It's not only about the money, but how you think about planet, people, and performance. Unfortunately, if we see last 18 months, all the entertainment and visitors has been impacted quite significantly. COVID has impacted all the attractions globally, which has resulted into dwindling of the visitors.
Yeah.
Globally, when I see many of the tourist attractions, they are innovating, thinking about new revenue pools, thinking about overall customer experience. How is Mandai adapting to it, and what is the plan going forward?
Certainly, Vivek. So I think for our fellow colleagues in the attractions industry, or in fact, entire Singapore, I think we've all been trying to keep up with the multiple safe management measures. So I think in a good way, because we started our digital transformation efforts 4 years ago, there was a roadmap, but it was a 10-year roadmap. And so with COVID, we just said, okay, we have to accelerate it, right? So we're going to go like mobile first, cashless in 3 to 5 years time. We're like, okay, now. So I think what has been great is that the roadmap was there, but we just needed to rally the whole organization to accelerate. And the whole of Mandai has been incredible, jumping into action to leverage the opportunities. So our vision of a mobile first experience, a seamless world, a queueless world is all bearing fruit and coming to life much quicker in terms of the physical in-park experience. The other piece that we were really passionate about, which started in 2019, is this push to transform from a physical destination into a globally relevant everyday brand. And we do this because simply, there is no way that you can change behavior when somebody visits Mandai just once, right? They come, they go wow, and they go home, right? After that, and the behavior change or the spark does not quite last. So for us, we've started to think about how we can be part of a consumer's everyday life, and how we could export Mandai to be part of their lives on a daily basis. And that started our ideation around virtual experiences. So when COVID happened, again, it's plans that we were tinkering with that we said, okay, we need to go. And with that, we created a platform where every child can befriend an animal buddy, right? And we were able to bring Mandai emotionally closer to families and children. So there's a short video clip that I'd like to share the thinking behind how we conceptualized My Animal Buddy. One of the traditional problems is most Singaporeans, they come to our zoo once a year. Tourists will come once in a lifetime. Very, very avid animal lovers amongst the locals would be a couple of times a year, and they spend the bulk of their time actually at home or outside of our parks pretty much. How do I then reach out to these people in their everyday lives? How do we make our brand relevant in their everyday lives?
Are you all ready for the show? All right.
Children come to the zoo and they say, I'm just going there to see animals. Okay, they come, they go, and then that's it. And so we started to try to understand, amongst these families with kids, what were some of the unmet needs that families and the parents have. One was the need for more frequent animal interactions, but coming to the zoo was just too troublesome. By understanding all these key tensions that parents have, we have actually conceptualized My Animal Buddy. Now their children can actually look at our live cams, participate in virtual shows. There are so many variety of virtual activities that they can enjoy, which makes animal interaction a lot more frequent than it used to be. Through these, we are really transforming how families with children experience the zoo, what I've always termed exporting Mandai out of Mandai. In order to reach, consumers outside of the confines of our wildlife parks, there is no perfect situation, there is no perfect role, there's no perfect circumstance for us to drive change and to drive innovation, and we make the best out of what we are given. So that's something really meaningful for us to be able to bring the joy of our animals. Here they are again, bringing joy to families with children and every animal lover and zoo lover, in their homes. And of course, we've built from strength to strength. So in addition to My Animal Buddy, we also have Hello from the Wild, which is a series of behind the scenes live virtual tours. And, I would encourage everybody to, find out more about these initiatives.
That's quite exciting. My daughter is like a avid user of the app My Animal Buddy. And like I have seen like how she really likes it. And here if I see again, Belina, in today's world, the overall customer journey and the guest experience is becoming quite important. What are the steps or the initiatives you have taken? And what are the plans to really elevate guest experience?
So in our vision, we talk about that we need to inspire everyone, right, to value and conserve biodiversity. And one of our traditional challenges has been we have a core target group, which is families with kids, right? And those of us who have teenagers, we kind of know that, yeah, when they hit their teenage years, the zoo stops becoming cool, right? So they have other interests. And we call them the lost generation kind of, because they stop coming to the zoo until they become parents again. So for a good 15, 20 years, the zoo loses relevance. So we've been experimenting and innovating. How do we become closer to this lost generation or this segment? And one of our innovations has been Rainforest Lumina. So Rainforest Lumina was our first attempt to have a seasonal offering. And if we can bring the visuals up, it transforms our day park from a zoo into a luminous night wonderland, right, through a multimedia experience. So with this, we started to see non-traditional segments visiting the zoo, and through the storytelling of Lumina, able to get them to be more interested again with wildlife and animals, right? So we started to see dating couples. It's a very romantic night walk for dating couples. We started to see photographers who are really interested in night photography. And you would never imagine that this is a zoo in the day. So our life sciences team worked very closely with us to innovate, because we had to make sure that all these would not disturb our animals in terms of their rest. So in terms of monitoring their sleep, the sound, the light, all sorts of sensors were added to ensure that we take good care of our animals first, right? So that's one example. Another example is how do we leverage this new world where social media is such a big thing. But one of the key challenges for us is how do we capture those priceless moments like this, right? Neha saying, our baby elephant, saying peekaboo, right, to her keeper while he was cleaning the space that she lives in. And, another very beautiful image of Satria, right? They love the sun, but it's also really hot, right? So, on a hot day, they take a gunny sack and they kind of shield themselves from the sun. So beautiful moments, but again, for all of us who've been into content creation, it can be expensive. It's quite daunting. It is expensive to build huge teams. So again, innovation together our life sciences team was, why not harness these priceless moments? Because every time I talk to a keeper, they'll show me their WhatsApps, right? And all the videos and pictures that they take. So that gave rise to the idea of harnessing every single zookeeper and animal caregiver as a content creator. And so we piloted with a keeper app that empowered our keepers to do just that. It was award-winning, but we had some, as with all pilots, some technical issues. So we are in the midst of upgrading the platform and building upon it to also not just include content creation capabilities, but how do we help them be more productive in their work? So there would be other productivity features as well. So these are just two examples of how we continue to push the boundaries, bringing people closer to Mandai in different ways, right? Physically closer for new segments, virtually closer through social media, but in an unconventional manner. And I'm very, very proud to say that a lot of our keepers have really stepped up. Some of them have become social media stars, and I have a lot of newfound respect, because in addition to taking care of our animals, they also are great storytellers and social media creators. Yeah.
It never amazes me how much innovation it's happening over here. I won't be amazed, like again, 2 years, 3 years down the line, this Keepers app again becomes a big source of NFTs for Singapore and Mandai. We also have 130 plus attendees. I would also encourage them. If you have any questions, please shoot out for Belina or me. Now, Belina, you mentioned about people and like again, lots of innovations happening at Mandai. How has this transformation impacted the employee's experience as well?
Yeah, so that's really important. So earlier in my sharing, I shared about people being our very, very important stakeholder. So we strongly believe in Mandai in looking after our people, making sure that every one of them can thrive and have meaningful jobs. So our approach to innovation has always been all of organization, and our goal is to enable every employee to become an innovator who is also future ready with data and digital competencies. So we did not ring fence innovation to, only just one department, right? And there's this like elite people in lab coats in a lab somewhere. We consciously made it something that, everyone can embrace and be part of. So we started off with focusing on 5 innovation behaviors rather than anything very, very complex. And these behaviors would ensure that anyone can actually embrace and innovate, right? So the first is being user-focused. So the user could be a guest, could be a staff, could be an animal, to be data-driven, right? And that helps us to ensure that you're not making comments or thoughts based on judgment, to continuously optimize, right? And to really be experimental, and finally to be agile. So by demystifying it, so we didn't go out with big bombastic words, we made it quite easy for people to understand how these innovation behaviors would then translate into meaningful outcomes. In terms of the learning approach, we embrace a 70-20-10 model. So 70% of it is on the job training through innovation projects. We have a total of 20 ongoing projects, which we cut across the entire organization across all levels. 20% on informal learning. So we set up initiatives like Mandai's Insight Circle, where we would invite, even if you are not participating in delivering a project, we invited employees to join us to give feedback on some of the projects, right? So for example, they may not be working on the Keeper app 2.0, but they can come and give feedback on, hey, how is this app? Or for My Animal Buddy, right? We invited staff who had children of the target age group to join us and give feedback. So this is a way that we involve them as well. We also have special interest groups. So there's a Power App group going on, inspired by a ground-up initiative by our technical services and facilities management team. They kind of like figure it out using this Microsoft Power Apps, and we've just spun off a special interest group, and we will be creating another one for Power BI. So 10% of it finally is on formal learning. We have chosen design thinking as our key tool, right, and supplemented it with other methodologies like Lean. But design thinking in Mandai takes a different twist, because in addition to desirability, feasibility, and viability, we've added a 4th lens. And that 4th lens is our North Star, which is what the world needs. And that's the urgent need to embrace conservation and sustainability in everything that we do. So, with that, we always celebrate and recognize our people. So regular newsletters, heroing, our everyday heroes who have really embraced and lived this behavior is really important. So very proud to share that, 90% of our staff are aware of the innovation behaviors. We are passing around the 30% mark of staff being trained, and about 20% of staff have participated. Our goal is 100%. We are 1 year in our journey, and we have got 4 more years to achieve this 5-year goal of every employee being an innovator.
Thanks, Belina. And at the beginning, you mentioned about 3P importance of 3P for Mandai. Mandai Innovation Forum is happening when the COP26 is happening in Glasgow. And this is again a question from one of the attendees, Mr. KK Low. Like if you can help us understand what are the areas of Mandai innovations that is helping with the climate change agenda, and what's the overall sustainability plan of Mandai?
Sure. We've got an environmental sustainability strategy that has been in place for a number of years, and there are 4 pillars to that. The first being resource optimization. The second is biodiversity protection. The third is integration with the surroundings, and that's very much related to the rejuvenation efforts that are ongoing, as well as sustainability advocacy. So maybe I'll just focus on resource optimization in the interest of time. So under resource optimization, the goal here really is to drive the most efficient use of resources with sustainable procurement. And we focus on energy, water, being low carbon or carbon neutral, zero waste, as well as being mindful of sustainable procurement. So we've set out a carbon neutral goal by 2024, and we are working very hard to achieve that. With any last mile emissions that cannot be reduced completely, we will work with Mandai Nature to generate carbon credits. Some of the initiatives that we have include, for example, in terms of energy, we've installed 77 solar panels and are in the process of including another 700 solar panels. In terms of low carbon transport, we are en route to convert all our electric trams, or convert all our trams to fully electric by the end of this year. We are already about 80%. So in addition to all these, preservation and protection of local flora and fauna are also very important. So in our development work, in addition to planting incremental 15,000 trees, we are also reusing, like for example, trees that are not healthy and need to be managed, will be recycled for use in animal exhibits as well as landscaping. Last but not least, in terms of our green procurement policy, we are 100% sustainable in terms of our seafood and the palm oil that we use in our kitchens. So every time you have a meal at Mandai, you can be very, very assured that it's a sustainable meal. So there are a lot of things that we are sharing. It will take one whole day, but in the interest of time, just some headlines for the team on the call today.
No, Belina, frankly, I would have never learned about all this if I would not have interacted with you and for today's discussion. And here if I say, look again, what you are doing is very much at the forefront for the community. How can Mandai really be a voice leader in Singapore and maybe even for regions or globally to champions continuous change in attitudes and behaviors of people towards the planet Earth?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting innovation challenge, because as David Attenborough said, no one will protect what they don't care about. So the problem statement or the opportunity statement is, how do we enable people to protect what they care about at scale? And when we talk about scale, we're talking not about the 5 million visitors to Mandai today, the 15 million visitors to Mandai rejuvenated, pristine tomorrow, the close to 20 million visitors to Singapore. We are talking about the 7 billion, right? So that's the problem statement that we are rallying towards. How do I get 7 billion consumers all around the world to care and to protect? So with that, we've started with the Families with Kids segment. As I shared, that's our core segment. And building upon My Animal Buddy, where we are providing children with the opportunity to deepen their love and connection for animals. Now we are moving one step forward to rally children to join us to save the day. So with that, I'm just going to show a quick brand video of Danger Buddies, which is our latest innovation in this space. Joelle, the video's not playing yet. Awesome,
the world is 4.5 billion years old. And in that time, it's been through a lot, watching many a species come and go. And until we all learn to be kinder to the planet, it'll need more help than ever to keep its wildlife inhabitants and the environment safe. Which is why every single day and in every corner of the earth, it seeks brave, courageous children who are willing to step up and save the day. These young heroes are called Ranger Buddies.
got a team, they go on missions every day, having fun, doing stuff with wildlife all the way. So much to do and to see. This world needs you and me. Let's start our mission straight away. Ranger buddies are coming to save the day. Need animal buddies who understand what we say. Hey, Kaiser, it's nice to see you. Let's get moving. Let's start our missions straight away. Ranger buddies are coming to save the day. Yeah, Ranger buddies are coming to save the day.
So that's the brand video for Ranger Buddies. And our vision is our belief in a world where every child, every day, everywhere, is passionate about exploration and discovery, is inspired to protect wildlife and our earth, and is empowered to feel positive change for themselves, others, and the world. For over 48 years, our education team has been nurturing children of Singapore, and also, the tourist visitors that visit us. And we are now building upon that legacy and strength and amplifying the work, right, through the partnership between, our strategy and innovation division and the life sciences division. So we truly believe that we can rally young Ranger buddies all over the world, right, to join us on this journey to save the day. And we believe that every child can make a difference. And that's really a beacon of hope. I was just commenting to my board the other day that as a child is actually quite scary, right? You hear things like, oh, in 20 years, the jobs that you know are not going to be around anymore. You see the impact of climate change. As a kid, I would be scared, right? And I think that rather than feeling victimized and feeling powerless or anxious about the circumstance, Ranger Buddies is a program that encourages every child to be a hero every day through daily missions. They can do their part, to drive positive change for themselves, others, and the world. So that's our latest initiative, amongst the many, many others that my fellow esteemed colleagues will be sharing over the next few hours in the morning.
So that is quite interesting. Like, I think over last 2-3 years, my activities have changed because of my kids, like how much they are learning about sustainability in the school. My son telling me, Dad, why are we using plastics? Why we are driving? So I think it is really interesting on how Mandai is using kids as a channel to really drive the sustainability. One more question, Belina, has come in. Like, as a Mandai, you are generating large amount of data. How, and this is the questions from Mr. Lauwen. Like, how are you thinking of like using data to drive innovations, and where is the intersection between data and innovation?
Sure. So a lot has been said about big data, right? I think that all organizations have a lot of big data. So I want to complement that thought around big data and AI and all that wonderful stuff with good old qualitative data, or what I'm calling TIC data. I think at Mandai, we infuse the two. So we analyze the data, through nowadays, there's so many tools available, right? Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, and all. But very importantly, qualitative data allows us to uncover motivations and barriers. In innovation, it is very easy to focus only on the motivation, like why would someone do something? But successful innovation would be understanding the barrier, like why would somebody not want to do something, right? And the barrier you cannot see from the data. The big data does not tell you why I will not wake up at 9 o'clock to go across the road to buy something, right? You can't tell that from the data. You can see the pattern, but you won't know why. And which is why I'm a great advocate of speaking to consumers. So all of you fellow innovators, please spend time with your consumers. You can't tell these things through reports, and don't rely on your research agency to give you a nice report, because nuances matter, right? The sparkle in the eye, when your consumers are talking to you, or that somewhat nervous shift when they are reflecting something to you. What you see in the report is, okay, they rated you 8 out of 10, right? Or 5 out of 10. But the nuances allow you to deep dive and say, I can sense that you're a bit hesitant about this. Can you tell me why? So, great question about data. I would say that, at Mandai, we really infuse these two disciplines because we're talking about behavioral change. We are talking about motivations and barriers, and numbers alone will not give us the full picture.
Yeah. There is one more question. In the today's world of low carbon transport, is Mandai also thinking about guests to cycle or even having pedal cart, which even reduces the carbon footprint further?
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. So for the cycling enthusiasts, you'll be happy to know that we are starting to see families with kids come all the way into Mandai on their bicycles. There will be a boardwalk around the reservoir. And there will be there are already plans on how we would support the needs of cyclists in the new precinct. So that's definitely a great idea and a great suggestion, which we are also already working on. Within the precinct, we are looking at low carbon transport. But again, because of the ease of cycling, our visitors would be able to easily cycle across to visit the attractions. Yeah, so I think that's a fantastic idea.
I would not mind coming down to Mandai soon to do cycling as well.
Yeah, so I think Singapore government has done a fantastic job, right? Because we're all connected now, so you can easily, get out of the house, cycle, and yeah, depending on which end of the island you're at, it might take 15 minutes, might take 30 minutes. But yeah, it's actually totally achievable.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And I can imagine, Belina, look, all the things you've been driving, innovation, thinking about sustainability, people, planet, and performance. This journey would not have been very easy. What are the biggest challenges you faced and what have been some of the biggest learnings?
I think one of my biggest learnings was the need to balance going fast and going far. So there's a saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right? So we've managed to balance both. By going fast, we tried to work with, and we succeeded in working with stakeholders who were very ready for change, right? So when I first joined and we first started this function and strategy, there were stakeholders going like, me, I want to come in, right? So with those teams, we were able to go very fast. And our life sciences team, many of whom are on this call, and Dr. Cheng and Dr. Shangzhe, who will be speaking later, were great advocates at the earlier part of the journey. But in order to go far, that's where the whole T2.0 approach across the triple bottom line, right, and the 4 change enablers had to almost galvanize the whole organization to go together, right? So in the earlier years, it was all about demonstrating possibilities, changing mindsets, right? And we were very fortunate to have very enthusiastic subject matter experts to join us on that journey, which gave us the foundation to then rally the whole organization to come along with us. So it's been a great journey, right? Being able to go fast and yet go far.
That's interesting, Belina. There is one more suggestions from Mr. Akshay. Like again, as a form of new engagements with the community, especially with the kids, are there any initiatives planned or running on how Mandai can engage schools in Singapore, both local and international? Again, it can really result into very positive network effect, especially if you consider the Singapore expat community, and the Singapore kids can become the ambassadors to the world for Mandai.
That's fantastic. So Michelle, would you like to join us on this journey? Drop me an email. I think that's a fantastic idea. We are already building or starting to go into design thinking for what the school experience is going to look like. Today, our education team already does a wonderful job in terms of, sparking that sense of wonder in our young school children. We are working very closely to see how we can become part of core curriculum. And we've got great progress already discussing with the various stakeholders. So totally agree with you that engaging the schools and the school children is going to be a very, very important part of the entire strategy. But we are not forgetting the youth. So all this great innovation and excitement around the metaverse, stay tuned. We would be hopefully launching some new innovations in that space very soon as well. So our lost generation, as I'm calling them, will not be lost for very long, hopefully. And we hope that, in the next couple of months, we'll have something to share.
I can really see the potential. Like again, whenever I share about my work with my kids, they've never been that excited. But when I told them that, hey, look, I'm going to be a Fireside host for a Mandai Innovations, they were saying, Dad, you must be kidding. There is no way anybody you are going to talk with related to zoo and the bird park. But I can really see how the kids can really become a great ambassador. And again, Belina, look, I can continue these discussions for long, but I'm sure Sherry would is sending me messages about the time. I would love to now see again, Mandai has been an inspiration for all of us. How can the broader community, like including myself and we have attendees, Singaporeans and expats in Singapore, how can they really help and join Mandai in its overall transformation and sustainability journey?
Yeah, thanks, Vivek. I think there are a few ways that you can join Mandai in our efforts. One would be, we are always looking for volunteers. So for those of you who love wildlife and love being out in the nature, do come volunteer in our parks. There are a whole series of ways that you can support our efforts in terms of animal care, as well as conservation. And that would be, in terms of donations, for example, or sponsorships. But more importantly, I think in this forum, we are looking for like-minded partners to join us to co-innovate and co-create this brave new world that we live in, right? There is so much that can be done across performance, people, planet, across, the various segments, whether it's B2C or B2B or even B2G. And we cannot do this alone. So back to my earlier point, how can we, and through this forum, we hope to be able to, spark off great conversations, receive great ideas, which, some of the attendees have already shared. And together, we can protect wildlife and make this world a better place for everyone.
No, that's great, Belina. I would love to come down to be the volunteer as well. I think many of us, at least, were not even aware on how we can help out Mandai, and really looking forward for that.
Yeah.
Now, thanks a lot, everyone. For
no problem. I think for all of you who are really keen to see how you could join Mandai on our journey, do reach out. I believe there's an email that you can send your questions or feedback to, and we will be sure to respond to every single one of them. But again, thank you, Vivek. Great session chatting with you. I can go on and on, but I can see Sherry already popping up. I think we're over time. So, wishing everybody a happy and fulfilled morning. A lot more interesting topics coming up. And yeah, thanks again for the time.
Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Sherry.
Over to you, Sherry.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Belina. Such a wonderful conversation, so inspiring. I can see Belina nearly want to tear up when she talks about Ranger Buddies. And Vivek, really look forward to you volunteering, maybe together with your children. That would be fantastic. And hopefully your daughter also enjoys Ranger Buddies.
Absolutely.